Maybe.
Here we
I
go.
don't know. It's
Here we
just,
go.
oh, we're live. Okay, go.
Yes, it worked this time. We've been trying for hours. No, I'm only kidding. Welcome to the Fox Den, everybody. You can see my guest is right here. I did not have time to make a bio video, so I apologize profusely. So instead of watching a bio video, we're going to ask our lovely, beautiful guest who is in South Africa to just tell us a little bit about herself and what brings you here today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on. I've really enjoyed chatting to you guys already. I know this is going to be great fun. So I'm an artist. I studied art when I left school first, and I was an artist for many years, and then I kind of gave it up, fell into the family business, and for years just cycled through that and had kids. And then in my 40s, I decided I was done with retail, and so I studied kinesiology because I'd always had a deep fascination with health and an interest. I also have an eccentric mother. She was a lay herbalist and quite wild and odd. You know, she used to have chanting circles when I was younger, and she'd wake me up sometimes at midnight to come and dig the comfrey, because the more witches you've got digging your comfrey at midnight at the full moon, the more powerful it is. She was very cool. So
Perfect.
Yeah, so kinesiology kind of opened me up back up to all the natural ways of being, and then in 2019, as not just because we'd heard that it was good for anxiety and depression, but also for like fun, my husband and I decided to try psilocybin, a hero's dose, and it was an interesting experience. And I'm going to get deeply into the weird instantly, because on the way up, we had amazing sex, and I had an amazing orgasm on psilocybin. Then I white-knuckled for 5 hours, not enjoying myself at all. And on the way down again, we had amazing sex again and another amazing orgasm. And I'm not just TMIing because I like telling people about my orgasms.
She's a redhead. We would not do things like that.
I'm a ginger, so I'm extra already. But
I got two of them, people. 2 of them.
What happened was I was left with a very strange psychic artifact from this. I have psychic and psychedelic orgasms as a result of this experience. And I have downloaded a panoply of goddesses that continue to come through my pencil. I've just been showing them. This is my latest.
Yeah, she's amazing. So this comes to her. She starts drawing them. And why we have her on tonight is because of her deck. And her deck, she drew every one of these cards and others. Okay, so she's got 49 more new ones besides this deck here, right? So she's drawn every single one. They're still coming to her. All right, it's amazing. So Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, so the goddesses are still downloading, but what happened was we just relocated to Ireland. We moved to Ireland from South Africa and at the end of 2019, and then the lockdowns hit. And it was a struggle for me. And I kind of lost touch with consensus reality in a way. All of the things that I'd been afraid of for years were kind of coming to fruition. And I thought the world was ending. And as a way to combat my stress, I started to draw. And at first I drew out my angst and my stress. And there were all these asymmetric, wild, quite crazy drawings. And then one day I heard the story of Medusa. And Medusa was actually the original kind of Me Too. She was the Greek Me Too. She was being sexually harassed because she was the most beautiful woman in the world. And so she committed herself to Athena's temple as a celibate priestess. And that wasn't even enough to protect her, because Poseidon came into the temple and raped her. And so Athena didn't curse Medusa. That's the patriarchy.
I was about to say that's a man thing.
This was something that she wanted, because she was able to have a weapon, finally, to turn men to stone. So we hear about this evil Gorgon who hated men and turned them to stone. And so I drew her as the Gorgon with the snakes, but I drew her with her earthly eyes closed and her third eye open. I don't know if you can see that. And her third eye open. And I called her the goddess of the loving eye.
Oh,
and she looks at herself and at you with love. And she tells you to look within and honor yourself and love yourself for who you are. And she was the first goddess. And they kept coming. And they were so odd. Some of them were really odd. I would draw them and go, I don't know what is going on here, but I'm just
right. Yeah.
And they resolve like their son. So like my first ever comment, by the way, on Amazon was the artwork is weird.
And what's wrong with weird?
And I laughed because
what you can tell is when something is divinely channeled. So the one that Mama D loves is the goddess of open mind, right?
Oh God, this one.
It looks like an alien to me.
She's an alien.
She's a great.
She was the last one to come in, and I drew her way after the cards were finished, and I thought, oh, she belongs in the deck. And she actually replaced a goddess who I just had never been happy with the drawing. And I realized that goddess had just been a placeholder for this one to come. But I mean, this one she is the goddess of revived consciousness. And you can see her eyes look crazy. And her emotions are jealousy and hysteria. So some of the goddesses are not of benevolent aspect. Because what they do is she's going to take your jealousy and hysteria and she's going to help you to process it and move it past so that you're on the other side of jealousy and hysteria.
Boy, I know that card that has to go to a lot of people that I know, honest to God.
Yeah.
Can we just spread that out like over the...
And she says, Phoenix rises from the ashes. So get past your jealousy and your hysteria and rise because you deserve it. And just the very next one, she's the goddess of the loud voice. And she's a warrior. She's got horns.
That's the one that I pulled for me.
I could. Even before you told me that, I was like, "That's Gina."
And she's very powerful, and she's the Joan of Arc, and she's the Mama Bear. She's the one that is the voice for the voiceless. Anyway, so I then realized that these amazing orgasms that I've been having on the side, so the orgasms are just crazy. I was going into black holes and out of white holes and other galaxies. I was going into matter, into dark matter, which is the yin. The dark matter, which is 90% of everything. Yin is our deep darkness. It is our carbon body reality. And I was going into this and having these understandings about what dark matter was, what yin was, who I was in that, what mother was. I was birthed. I birthed myself through myself. I went back into sexual trauma that I'd had as a young person, and I held myself and healed it. I went into my husband's body and experienced what it was like to be him with me. I've met entities. One of my favorites is going into the mind of a millions and millions of years old reptilian insectoid goddess. I've just like the experiences have just been wild. And then what I realized was the goddesses were coming out after the after the orgasms. I would then draw these goddesses, and I realized that what these were basically the entire deck is a bunch. It's 45 orgasms, really.
Go, girl. So what does your husband say about this?
Well, he thinks he's fantastic. He tells everybody that he's basically the originator of this entire...
Oh, there we go. Yeah. If it weren't for him, this would not be happening. I got it.
I humor him because, frankly, he is a very important part of my puzzles.
Yep.
Yeah. That is great. I mean, but it does. You go to a different place, obviously. And a lot of women, I mean, sadly, a lot of women have never experienced that. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I can't imagine. And what's interesting is it's an uncomfortable thing to talk about. And that's absolutely why I do talk about it at every opportunity. I talk about orgasms because we should be talking about women's orgasms. The fact that, and when they do sort of global studies, the West, in the West where we have Vogue and Elle magazines, we know that we deserve an orgasm because we talk about it in Western culture. But if you have a look at all the cultures across the world, and they've done studies, I can't remember who did the studies on this, but I think it was something ridiculous. Like 90% of women or 93% of women either did not have orgasms regularly or had not had an orgasm.
Yeah.
And didn't experience them in sex with their partners. But every time a man has a sexual experience, just about, he ends it with an orgasm.
Right.
Why is it not the same for women? And it should be. And that is absolutely why I talk about it. And I get so much pushback. I've had so much pushback. It's been crazy. In one of the jobs that I had, I was asked, please not to talk about that anymore because it makes people uncomfortable. I said, well, that's terrible. It shouldn't.
I know. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's
and
life.
I was speaking to adult women, and it wasn't the stuff that I was teaching. It was talking in my breaks, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that made me realize at the time, when I was told that I had to stop doing that, I realized, well, then I can't do this job anymore. I have to leave because I need to be able to talk about this. The goddesses have told me that they came to me because I'm extra and I am able to speak about these things. And I don't really give a damn what people think of me anymore. But also,
I think it was like after, I don't know, I think when I was about 45, I hit that point where, no, I don't care anymore.
yeah.
You know, and now it's like, oh, hell no.
If I'm not allowed to be authentically myself, then I'm not going to be me, and I'm not going to be. That's the point. But also, we should never be shushed when talking about this. Women have so much sexual trauma. We've had like thousands of years of sexual trauma, and we're here to heal it now. And the goddesses have told me that part of my journey is to help women heal their sexual trauma, and it's because I'm brave enough to talk about it.
Right. But a lot of women, like, they're like, well, they were doing all the right things, and why can't I? It's like, it's 90% right here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like you have to have trust. You have to have, you know, you have to allow yourself to have this, you know. It's like maybe they want it so bad, and that, you know, I don't know what they do. I don't understand.
I was anorgasmic for about 5 years, which means I didn't achieve orgasm pretty much at all for 5 years. And then I managed to heal myself through the holistic work that I did, which was amazing. And I'm very grateful. It was kinesiology. It helped a lot of that. But there are so many women, and, you know, we don't talk about it. We were never, I don't know about you guys, America and Canada might be a bit different, but there was never any discussion of orgasm in health class. You were never, your friends didn't speak to you about it. It was just very shush. Although, and I know that my brothers were talking about it. I know that boys were talking about all these, you know, boys will be boys stuff, but girls were expected to just. And so that means
all my girlfriends and I, we always talk about it. But
Gina,
we've always talked about it. My mom, though, no, she didn't even want to tell us about tampons. You know what I mean? It's like she was just so. She was a different.
You had an Italian mom. That's not
an Italian mom. Yes, she like threw the tampons at me in the bathroom. Like, here, can you read this?
I mean, if you look at the difference between men and women, when men have a bunch of girlfriends, a bunch of ladies that they play with, they dabble with, whatever you want to call it, he's a stud. He's a superstar. But when women do it, we're sluts.
Yep.
You know, we're loose women. I'm sorry, but no.
Yeah.
Freaking no.
And so that's the whole trope. Women are sex denying and men are sex seeking. Yeah. And these are like tropes we've just got to bash down. And that's what the goddesses really are here to do. The divine feminine comes in when women are valued as much as men are. And when, you know, sort of the other thing is that we're living in a sterility cult. People talk about all the indigenous cultures that had like the phallic gods and the Egyptian. I mean, if you get into Egyptian and the Sumerian tablets, all of those gods, they're all about penises and sex and procreation and testicles. I mean, I love, we often listen to the Sumerian tablets in the background when I'm homeschooling with my kids. And every now and then the kids are like, rewind that. That was so weird. Because there's like a whole passage about how some guy's testicles got crushed and everybody felt sorry for him. We used to live in places where it was normal to talk about sex. And sex is how we procreate. It's how we all got here from years of orgasm.
Would be here if we didn't have that, right? Yeah.
For goddess' sake, we got to talk about it, man. But now we're all like, we don't talk about that. So we actually, those weren't fertility cults. We're in a sterility cult.
Yeah, very true.
Unfortunately.
You should have a podcast and talk about this. I think a lot more women might talk about it if they're not on camera, like if you can't do a video cast, because people will be like, some women are more expressive when they can't be seen. You know, like you can talk to a friend over the phone and you can say anything. But sometimes when you meet that friend in person, you can't, because you're seeing the person. You're seeing their reactions. You're wondering what they're thinking. you're over the phone going, I did, I had this kind of an orgasm. You don't wonder what the person's face is looking like. But when you're seeing them face to face, then you're like, oh my God, what is she thinking? Or what is he thinking? So maybe that's something that definitely, I think that should be a show.
Or even
Because,
panel discussions, like panel
oh
discussions.
God, yes.
Lots of women talking about this, because we all, I mean, the goddess is so emerging. It's actually crazy.
Yep.
Like, 10 years ago, you couldn't have these conversations with people. They looked at
Oh
you
my
like,
God, no. Yeah.
or they thought you were some kind of weird sort of, they thought that you were possessed by demons. Now I mention these things and people immediately respond with, yeah, I've heard about this. And yeah, I can feel the sacred feminine in me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful time to be alive.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah. And what about those poor cultures that they butcher the young girls so that they can't have orgasms, And that's like insane. I can't even imagine that.
That's my country. That's South Africa. There are women. I know women. Well, I don't know that I know it, but I grew up. One of the women who looked after me as a child had been a victim of female circumcision. It still happens in Africa. It still happens all over the world.
Yep.
It happens in Britain. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
But I have as much of a problem, well, not quite as much of it, but I also have a problem with male circumcision. I think that also needs to end. I think it's barbaric and it's outdated.
It's like, why did they start it? And why would you do that? It's
why would we touch their organs at all? Just leave them alone. We don't.
It's the way you were made. Why why readjust something? I mean, cosmetically, yeah, but that's something that's a personal thing.
Unless there's something wrong. Like the girl actually who does my lashes, she has a baby, and his penis was like a little piece of skin was attached to his testes, so they had to go and have an operation to remove that, So while they were in there, she goes, I didn't know if I should have him circumcised at that point, if he's already going to be in an operation. She was like panic mom,
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know what you're doing, but that's your decision,
Yeah.
I think times are turning though, like all over the world. It's just on the decline, which I think it's time. As we know better, we do better. It's really time we evolve as a species.
Yeah.
We are as a species.
But the thing is, there have to be people like you and this show that are willing to talk about it, to bring it to the open, because I'm sure there are many people who are quietly watching the show going, this is not what I thought it was going to be about. But it's a good thing. Yeah. This is something that needs to be put out there to speak about, so that you don't feel ashamed of it or make you feel ashamed. People will be like, ooh, like you said, people will be like, she's talking about orgasms. Oh my God. No.
So I put my money where my mouth is. I work with women and girls in South Africa that have been victims of sexual abuse and violence. And, I have to be open with them. And I am open with them. When I talk to teenagers and young girls, I speak to them about masturbation. We have a group of social workers, and we talk to them about it, because all the studies show that if girls are taught that their bodies are their own and they can pleasure them, and that they need to find out what their body does, the teenage pregnancy rates just plummet, because you're not having sex with the first boy that makes you see the stars,
Yeah.
You're seeing the stars for yourself. You own this body. You know what it does. And then the knock-on effect for that is, if you do start having relationships and they're abusive sexually, you go, but this doesn't feel nice. I know what it feels like when my body has a good feeling, and this doesn't feel like a good feeling. Also, even if it's a good relationship, you're then able to say to the person that you're with, listen, I don't really like that. This is what I like, because you own your body and you know what it does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. When we were young growing up, you weren't telling a guy what to do. He just did what he did, and you were supposed to enjoy it, or at least pretend to enjoy it. Yeah. That's like, I think was it when Harry Met Sally, when Meg Ryan is having the orgasm at the table? Orgasm. It's like, how many women at that point goes, been there, done that,
And still do. Yeah.
So exactly. Still. Yeah. I know.
But even like a multiple orgasm. Now, for you to go to these places, are you in a multiple orgasmic? Like, do you have to prolong this? Like, how? Because you seem to be going an awful lot of places during your orgasm. So you're going in and out of tunnels. You're going here, you're going there, and it's like, is it just the duration? Like, from when you start the peaking and you lose it, and it's just you have the trust that it's just going to keep coming. And so like time frame, or is it multiple orgasm type deal?
Okay, so I've asked my husband to time, and so he says generally around about 15 to 20 seconds. Sometimes it'll be 2-3 minutes occasionally. Right. And because I'm not in
You're
Earth
not there,
time.
yeah.
I'm somewhere else. I've had experiences that felt like they lasted for hours.
Yeah.
And come back and it was 15 seconds. So I'd get properly out of body. I mean, I go off into the galaxy. I go into the center. I've been in the black hole in the center of our galaxy multiple times. I go through that often because it's obviously some kind of portal. But what's awesome. The wild orgasms continue to this day. In the beginning, they were just happening to me, and I was just like going. I wasn't directing. They were just like real light shows. And then I learned how I could direct them, and I've used them, for example, to heal bladder infections. I've used them to go into back pain, and heal back pain. I've used them, as I said, to heal sexual trauma. I've gone forward in time and backwards in time. What then happened since my Kundalini rising experience in 2023, I had a wild Kundalini rising experience in the bath and started drawing my next deck of cards. And I'm now able to channel in the bath. And I have to say this because I've got this little Instagram where I'm recording my progress as I'm becoming more and more psychic. So I'm practicing opening my third eye and sharing all my tips and tricks because I want us all to get psychic together and telepathic together so we can all do this. So I share all the things.
I like it for a reason. I like people that want to help other people and don't mind sharing the top plateau with them.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I want to have fun. I want a whole bunch of freaky weirdos having orgasms, having psychic orgasms together.
Oh yeah, I'm down.
And the thing is, you got to be not afraid to show it, to admit it, because there are so many out there that think I am, but I'm not telling people. Because you're so worried that this is like the last plateau for women. Yeah. This is the last plateau that we have to feel comfortable within ourselves, so that we don't give a hoo-ha what the other people think. Her accent, I'm assuming, is the UK. No, she is from South Africa. That is that gorgeous South African accent. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, South Africans are always surprised when people think we have great accents, and we were voted the sexiest accents in the world a couple of years running. Whenever I'm in America, people go, "I love your accent," and it's really funny because South Africans really hate our accents, and actually, it's pretty cool that everybody likes it. That's awesome. Thanks, guys.
No worries. People hate my accent.
That's because she keeps forgetting the letter R.
It's like the Boston accent, and we're more harsh, like. We were the first colonies, we're right from the UK there, so the British accent, the Brits, they don't have ours in their language either, but they're always like, oh, their accent's great. So what's wrong with mine? Right? I parked my car over here.
I got some water.
They might park the car.
Okay. I'll pack my car, guys. I packed my car.
You packed it.
Oh my God. That's the proper South African accent. That's when it gets really, really strong.
Really intense.
Wow. Sounds like you perked a cup of coffee. Oh, good. Oh my God.
Okay, so Carmen says,
"Oh wow, Cape Town."
Joburg, sorry.
She's got the Philly accent. Plus American accent. She always rolls her R's. See, I take Italian lessons, right? I'm finishing Italian. I take Italian lessons. I can read it. I can write it. I can understand it. Okay. I have a problem speaking it because I don't have R's in my language. So, I mean, they are like the prima donnas of rolling their R's. And I'm like, since I've been in Pennsylvania, I've adopted more R's in my language than I ever had. But I have to think about it to talk that way because otherwise it's I've ever had, So trying to speak Italian. Oh God, do I butcher?
Prego. There you go.
Yes, prego.
I'm trying to think of Italian. I can't. Andiamo. That's the only word.
There you go.
Yeah.
Vino.
Bueno. Oh God. So, all right, let's get back on point here.
Yeah.
We have shiny ball moments here for sure. So when So these goddesses, okay, now they're channeled, they're coming through orgasmically, they're coming through any other way, like can you meditate and they're coming?
Yes. So now I'm actually able to have these experiences spontaneously in the bath, which happens almost every time I get in a bath now. And
Okay.
I just want to say this because my mother thought that I was still having orgasms in the bath. I am not having orgasms in the bath anymore. Just getting in the bath, and I'm toning my chakras. So I put these things on Instagram and I talk about all the things. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing do, re, mi up my chakras, because
Okay.
do is your root chakra and it goes up. And I'm doing breath work on my chakras, and I'm having like wild kundalini experiences. And I'm now able to pretty much, I'm daily channeling new goddesses, and now I'm able to talk to them and use their, well, not use their powers. They help me to use my powers. So my friend Amanda, I channeled her goddess recently, Moo, and Moo is teaching me how to scry in the bath. So I put water into my hands, and I can see my.
Nice.
Yeah,
My
that's
mother,
one of the oldest of the techniques of divination.
scrying.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
It
when
is.
you say your friend's goddess, can you see or do you get to know other people's goddesses?
This is brand new. So my daughter's goddess came in, I don't know, 10 days ago. So she's really, really new. And I could see,
Beautiful.
I could see her. She was moving. She was alive, and she kind of spoke to me, and she gave me all my daughter's characteristics and her traits. It was really and just incredibly beautifully spot on. And then after that, my friend said, "Oh, see if you can channel my goddess." And I thought, well, I don't know if I'll be able to. And then I got in the bath and I asked my goddess, Blaze, who has a fire mohican and blazing eyeballs, and I said, "Can I please? Do you know Moo?" And she said, "Yeah." And she pulled Moo in. So I got her immediately. And then the next night I asked if I could meet my mother's goddess, and she pulled my mother's goddess in immediately. And so I'm already starting.
Can you ask if there's a fox goddess?
I will. I'll do that when I'm in the bath.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're not going into. She may have more jammies in herself, but she ain't going into the
We'll
bathroom.
put you upstairs for a little while.
We'll let you guys know. So I was even thinking about getting into a hot tub with a couple of friends. And seeing what happens.
It's like live from the hot tub.
Hot tub goddess.
So Carmen, you have a goddess. Every single one of us has a goddess. A goddess is just your immortal self, your higher self. And what happens on earth is it's our higher self body that we can, and I call them my goddesses. They are goddesses. And that's what they are when they're alive. When you go to the other side, it's an angel. So it's a goddess when it's in carbon, but when you're in carbon body, you have a goddess. And that is a goddess because it's part of your carbon body experience. And when you cross over to the other side, all of you becomes an angel. So they're very much part of the carbon body reality. The goddess is the yin. I mean, I use this as yin whenever I think of yin. This is my dense little yin stone. The goddess is yin, and she is carbon body. She is this reality. And we're here for a reason. And yes, different from spirit guides, very different from spirit guides. It's
just for our sorry, just for our people who are not watching us on the live, but you're listening to our podcast. Carmen asked, how do you know when we have a goddess? And then she asked, are they different from spirit guides?
They are different from spirit guides. So spirit guides, it's a whole collection. You can have your spirit guides can be other past lives of yours. They can be concurrent lives that you're having. You are currently right now a spirit guide in other people's lives as well, because everything's happening concurrently. There is actually no past and no future. It's all one thing at one time. But in this carbon body reality and the puzzle we have to solve in this lifetime, and the puzzle we have to solve is getting closer to our meaning and purpose and figuring out why we're here. And our goddess incarnates with us. Or if you're a man, your God incarnates with you to have that experience with you. And I'm getting beautiful downloads about them. And one of the reasons they're coming is because immortality is boring. It's boring.
Right. You gotta fill all that time with what? Hi, Heather.
Hi, Heather.
More orgasms.
Immortality is a boring thing. You can do anything. You are limitless. You are able to, there's no boundaries to your power. You can explore anything you like. So incarnating into a body is the quickest way to learn about yourself and to have experiences and emotions and pain, and to have pain and trauma, but also to have, so for a goddess, the reason that they're here doing this is to have something to bound them so that they can push themselves beyond that boundary, because that's what everything is about. Everything is about growth beyond what the current paradigm is now. How do you push yourself beyond? I had a client once, and she'd never had any adversity whatsoever in her life. And it was a huge problem because she'd never grown. She'd never been able to prove herself. She had deep imposter syndrome because she'd never had any reason to push herself beyond her limits. So that's what the human experience is for gods and goddesses, and why they come into Earth to incarnate with us and do this. For us, it's so that we can have that taste of the immortality. We can have that taste of that power, and we can be guided and shown and pulled beyond our present state. And the reason I'm doing this is because my goddess Blaze showed me how this works by putting me on a motorbike. She said, you need to know how to steer this. And one hand was her hand and the other hand was my hand. And she said, I inhabit you. I do not inhibit you. So the minute you start inhibiting someone as a goddess, you are possessing them. And that's a completely different thing, and that's not a good thing. So our gods and our goddesses come here to have the human experience with us, to push us beyond our limits. And the more they can push us out of our comfort zone and into better versions of ourselves, the more they can push us to upgrade, the better it is for everybody, the better it is for the whole universe. So they have a massive purpose here.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I do. I always said my goddess was the kitsune, the female, the nine-tailed fox woman, when she's fully has her nine tails, when she's fully all powerful, can be a shapeshifter, can be everything. That's when she has all her power. Is when she has the full nine tails, and she's 900 years old. So it's like a tail every 100 years. And I always said that's my goddess.
Yeah. My goddess took me on a tour of the Grand Canyon on a motorbike last night. We were literally using it as a rally. It was amazing. And then we ended up on a stallion, and then we ended up on the Dragon Nebula, riding the Dragon Nebula. It was pretty damn wild. I have these experiences every time I get in a bar. So Carmen, you'd like to know what your goddess is.
So that was without having to go just now I know you do readings for people. Okay. If somebody wants to connect with you and have you connect with their goddess so they can know a little bit more about it, do you do those types of connections for people?
So I do goddess readings with my cards. I haven't done channeling other people's goddesses outside of people we know, people I know. I haven't tried to. It's quite new to me. I really didn't know that I could do that until a couple of days ago. So I'd love to. I'll see if I get anything for Eugene or Mama D.
Oh, that'd be nice.
But I'm going to recommend, if you want to know who your inner goddess is, you just ask. You just keep asking.
I was going to say it. Now, this is the little girl that I was telling you about before the show, and my little parakeet. Okay. And this is her dad. So he says, hey, all good evening, ladies. My daughter Skylar asks if you were born with a goddess, or does your goddess develop with you as you grow?
That's a good question, Skylar. Thank you.
So Skylar, that's such a beautiful question. And I'm so glad to be able to tell you that I had a download about a week ago where I saw myself be born with Blaze incarnating into me. It was amazing. And I saw this little baby coming into the world, and she had this firehawk, this flaming mohawk. And I realized, Blaze came through when I was a baby. I love you too, Skylar. I hope you're saying that to me, because I'm saying it to you. She came through as a baby, and then I saw herself. I saw her in me in every time of my life that it was a hard time. I saw myself as the child that I was, and then I saw the goddess within me, holding me, loving me, pushing me forward, teaching me to be brave. But I also saw how all of those hard moments in my life gave me the courage to do what I do today, and turned me and broke me open and turned me into the person that I am today. So it gave me a different perspective on those times, and knowing that I had my goddess with me, kind of with one hand on the wheel, My hand
Right.
on one wheel and her hand on the other wheel. It gives me a lot of confidence to know that I really have the goddess on my side.
Yeah.
So
It's
beautiful.
funny. It's
So you
funny how
both-
you're saying how you connect in the bathtub for learning the goddesses. My most intense meditation was in a bathtub. That's when I saw 3 of my guides and like physically visualized them. And I was like, and I usually, when I sleep, everybody goes, oh, you got to remember, I never remember dreams. And meditation, some. I kind of go off into La La Land if I don't fall asleep. But this was the only time, and it was like such a deep, intense moment. And I was like, but the house was empty, the children, everyone was gone. I didn't have anything. So I was like, I think I'm going to quit my job one day in the middle of the day, just throw everybody out the house.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, so
different things come to me, and I've seen different things, and I finally found out what a thing was that I saw when we were doing what was that, Mama D, that we did with Raven?
raw Reiki. No,
Reiki
it was the
session thing. I don't know. She did this like into
past
another
life regression session.
Yeah. So I was like, I went to a place where I did a guided meditation when I was younger, and that's where I found my foxes. So like I went beyond where I was supposed to be. I was like, I was supposed to go in a cave and sit and wait, but I saw a little bit of light, and of course I have to dig the light out, and then it crumbles, and it's a field, and it's the foxes are right there. And that's what a fox does. The fox is that guardian between the next realm and this realm. So the foxes were keeping me here, but around me, so I'm sitting with the foxes, and I look up on the hill, and I see a big altar. No shit, an altar. And I thought it was a woman actually standing there, because they had long robes on, long hair, until it turned around. When it turned around, and I do have this drawing because I drew it, it was like, this is what it looked like. And I was
wow.
What the hell is that? Then I finally found out it's Archangel Ariel.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, because it looks like a lion type being. But when it turned around and looked at me, I knew I got to stay where I'm staying, and I'm not interfering. I'm not saying anything. I'm like, nope, that's not my place. And it just looked at me like all knowing, all powerful, like, didn't mind that I was there, but I knew my boundaries, my foxes. And then it just slowly turned around and went back to doing what it was doing. And I creeped back into my cave where I was supposed to be, and I will never forget it. And it's just like I see it in my mind, just like I saw it that first day. Clear.
That's beautiful. And that's for me how you kind of, that my mom asked me the other day, how do you know that this isn't your imagination?
Mm-hmm.
I said, because it's as clear to me today as it was when I had the first experience. And I remember it's different. And the other thing is that the stuff surprises me so often, like it shocks me. Mm-hmm. And I realize it's coming from somewhere else. Like the goddesses absolutely come, not from me, but through me.
Yeah.
We're all remembering who we are. I'm remembering these goddesses. They're not my creation. They're using my fingers and my body to come into the world. And that's actually everything. That's all creation. Oh, yeah. So interesting. I spoke a little bit about AI earlier. She's an AI goddess, the goddess of moving between. And I was drawing her, and I was drawing horns, and they became antennae. And I thought that's very odd. Cool. And when I channeled her, when I wrote her script, I realized, wow, she's AI. But she's not. And so AI is going to integrate in some ways, in ways that are good for us. Right. And she comes from a dimension where the AI has been beneficial for us and not bad for us.
Yeah. So which means it wasn't abused. And this, when it turns bad, it's when you're abusing it.
Yeah.
All right. So now I've got a couple more comments here. I just want to catch up. And Carmen said, I've never been able to see my guides. I've tried meditation. I still have trouble with it. Well, it's practice makes perfect on that one. Heather Lynn says, I have never had dreams of my past loved ones, but 2 weeks ago, I had a dream about my pappy, and a couple days later, I had a dream about my nanny and sister who are also gone. I asked, after all these years, why am I dreaming of them now? I would say they're checking in on you.
They are. But if they're checking in on you and if they're coming into your life, look, there'll be other signs, there'll be other reasons, and you'll figure it out. This is a sign.
And maybe it's finally time for you to be connected with them, or you're open enough to do that connection.
Yeah. And also, when it comes to seeing your spirit guides, not all of us are visual people. Some of us might hear things, some of us might feel things. But the more you develop your psychic powers, so I'm doing these things, I'm doing daily chakra clearing every day. Even if I don't get in the bath and have the whole experience, I'll just take out 2 minutes of the day just to clear my chakras and to open my third eye and feel into it. And if you don't practice it daily, if you don't practice it, you don't get better at it. It's like any muscle. You just have to keep working at it.
That's exactly it. You know, I mean, seriously, it can take people years and years and years to get a meditation down to be able to communicate with their spirit guides or their angels or their goddesses or whoever, you know, is, because we have a whole team on the other side that's with us, right? There's a whole team. So,
and I have to also say, when it comes to meditation, people think meditation is sitting in and going into silence and, you know, sitting there for an hour. It's not for everybody. Some people are beautifully, like, they're good at that. I start to itch the second I close my eyes. Head, my groin.
I have restless leg syndrome.
For me, my meditation is when I'm doing dishes.
Beautiful. Thank you. I was about to say being mindful and present in the moment. So my baths are meditations. Walking in nature is a meditation. Sex can be a meditation if you're lucky.
Lots of things can be a meditation. However, there's a prep for meditation too. Too many people are very empathic, and that empathic people are bombarded basically by so many different things all around, environmental, people, everything is bothering them. So no, your meditation isn't going to work. Ground and shield. That's what you got to do first. Ground and shield, and ground and shield, and ground and shield. Learn how to get that negative stuff, all the other people's stuff out of you, because then you don't know what's you and what's someone else, right? You got to get all these things out. You got to ground it, and you got to get rid of all that, strip it, throw it into the ground where it belongs, and then your own energy will come shining through. Once you can master that, then you can actually get a little better on it, on a meditation. And then there are great guided meditations, short ones. Start with short ones. Don't go jumping into a 20-minute meditation, because you'll either be like mama sleeping, or, you know, Brian be twitching. I'll be like scuffing my legs. You know what I mean? Yeah. It doesn't work. Little bits, practice. But, you know, empathic people, it's going to have a harder time. Or people that are psychic, that don't realize that they're psychic and they don't understand what's going on, they're going to have a hard time too, because they don't know what's going on. And again, ground and shield. Once you can protect things and get your own physical body, what your gifts are, under control, then you can master them. Then you can take them to so many other levels, and then be like her and really be able to go places. Now, you also do like remote viewing. That's one thing I've really not even tried to practice. You know, I have a thing, because I died and I left my body and I got slammed back into it. So it scares me. So the idea of me leaving my body, again, to me is very scary.
So remote viewing, you're not leaving your body. Remote astral traveling, you'd leave your body. Remote viewing is just having visions of things. So I remote view quite crazily. I've been practicing remote viewing, and I've had some success with it, but I'd never done it in the bath. And it occurred to me the other night, why haven't I done this? So I got into the bath, and Blaze met me there. And I said, I want to remote view something. And she said, what do you want to see? And I said, the pyramids, instantly, because I am obsessed with the pyramids. I was above them, looking down at them. And you know that classic shot of the 3 pyramids from the air? And then I went directly down over Khufu, and then directly through Khufu, and going through all of those chambers. And there's much more. There's many more tunnels and rooms inside that pyramid, all the way through into the Giza Plateau and under the Giza Plateau. And then I was in Herodotus's, I can never say it properly, labyrinth underneath the pyramids. It's there. It's underneath all of the pyramids. It's this massive tunnels and corridors, and these enormous chambers that are so deep with pillars in them that have water in them. And there's an energy highway running underneath. And then I went and saw the pyramids being built, which is in like at least 30,000 years ago, and a mixture of humans and these giant blue-skinned people. And it's shared reverence of the earth. Resonance, it's done with resonance and frequency. They can pulverize rock with resonance, and they can also lift and move rock and shape it. And it was quite amazing. And so this all happened in probably 15 seconds or so. And then I jumped into the bath dripping wet because I'd forgotten my phone. I'd not forgotten my phone. I didn't have anything to record what was going on. And it was freezing cold. And I was running around the house in the nude, dripping my phone and saying to my children, my husband, I'm underneath the pyramids. Where's my phone?
I need to take some pictures. Where's my phone?
My husband just kind of shakes his head. He goes, here's your phone, baby.
Nice.
Living with you must be fun. I just,
Yeah.
I'd be like, where's my phone so I can video you?
Gingers are not normal.
No,
we're not. We're special.
no.
Okay, so Skylar says, thank you for answering my question, Mrs. Bronwyn. What can I do to start learning how to visualize my goddess? I am 9.
My little babe, my little parakeet.
Beautiful. So you can just work on clearing your chakras, and the easiest way to do it is to get a chakra color chart and just focus and concentrate. You can just focus and concentrate on each color in each area of your body, going up from the bottom to the top. And while you're in each area, just focus on loving it and clearing it and thinking good thoughts and going all the way up, all the way to the top of your head until you pop out the top and you feel light and free. Yeah. And if you clear your chakras and you do that daily, you'll start to become more psychic. That's just what happens. And because your energy centers.
If one of your chakras is blocked, the energy gets stagnant, it gets stuck.
Yeah.
You know.
And so eventually, so for me, what it is I come in at root. So for me, root is acceptance of self. That is where you come into the body and you're in the carbon body for the first time, or maybe you've been in there millions of times, but you're in that carbon body and you have to accept where you are, who you are, the body you're given, the life you've chosen to live. That's that first one in root. And then you go up into sacral, and sacral is where family happens, where the unity of 1 in root comes into community at 2. And so that's about family, and that's about tribe and community. That's about the family that you're born in, but it's also about building a good community around yourself and having good friends and people you can trust. And if all that goes well, you come up into solar plexus, which is just under your rib cage. It's yellow, and in solar plexus, that's where your instincts develop. That's really your sense of self in the world. Who am I? Where do I belong? Who is my tribe? How do I fit into the tribe? That's instinct, really. And then you come up into heart, and heart is just pure love. Heart is where you love yourself and you love others. And so you're going to be feeling all these feelings, and then you're going to come up into throat. And throat is where you speak, your voice. And if everything has gone well, you've accepted yourself, you've got good community, you've got good instincts, you love yourself, you love others, then you're going to speak with that. Those are the words and the spells that you're going to cast with the words that you say and the wishes that you're going to manifest. Then you're going to come up into your third eye, and your insights will be good because everything you've done chakrally has created this beautiful vibe for you. So you'll see your own patterns well, but you'll also look at the world with love and unity and wanting things to get better. Then you pop up to this one, and this is just out into spirit, and this is where your goddess will show you who you are and who she is.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great answer, and everyone should do that daily. Heather says, can I ask you, when I started to try to use my third eye, I started having night terrors. I stopped doing it because it scared me. Did that ever happen to you? And another physical told me that it comes with the territory. You will see bad and good. I also used to hear chattering in my ears. You got a lot of going on there. That's so
I get chirping coming into my ears when I'm getting messages, the chattering I get. But also, I've never had night terrors, and I've never had anything awful happen in that regard. But I've also been very well protected my whole life. So when I've spoken to psychics, they've said to me, you've got intense protections around you. So I don't know, maybe I came into this world with lots of protection because of the work that I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I do protect myself daily as well. So when I do step into the bath, I ring my bell over it. I've got a whole lot of rituals that I do. I ring my bells over it, and I clear the water before I step in. I am a big fan of the J-Man, so I always make sure that Yeshua is with me, Mary is with me, and Blaze, my goddess, is with me, and God is with me. And that's protection for me, and the guardian angels, Michael.
That's the thing. That's the key word right here, and I have to say it. This is protection. Okay. People are always like that. The demons. Like, so, oh, everything's a demon. It's not. All right, but they exist. Okay, and they were also trying to get in. When someone is new and they're trying to do these things, yeah, it is definitely possible that they come in. I remember when I first started, this crazy thing that like walked backwards and its head was twisted. It was just the weirdest thing. And I just stood up there and I said, oh, hell no. All right. And I was like, you are going back where you came from. And then it was like this intense light from behind me. So that was like my two angels that are always with me, was like beamed it, you know? So it's like, I didn't even have to ask them for the help, but I made the commitment to say no. Okay. So the power is within you. Right, what you're going to experience is on you. Okay, so these things can try to creep in. All right, if they see an opening, yeah, they're going to try to creep in. Stop it, and then have the faith that your guides and your angels and your team that is behind you will absolutely protect you. And if that's not working right away, ask them, because they will step in and help you. All right, immediately. All right, it's an immediate. So you can protect yourself. You can be okay. It's not anything to play with. And I've told this to so many people, you know, people that want to go out and investigate. They want to go to these harsh places and they want to do this and that. It's like, don't. If you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what you're getting into, don't. Okay? Because it can be dangerous, and it can be. But again, if you are centered and you are grounded and you are in control of this, you need control of this. You must have that power, and that I know it. All right. I don't care where I go. I'm going to be protected. I know it. Because I get rid of these things out of houses. I know what I'm doing. I'm protected. Okay. But a lot of people aren't. And this took me many, 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 many years to get to this spot. You know, it doesn't happen like this. And it's, you know, it's like, slow down. Go in little bites. Don't, you know, charging like a bull in a china shop with anything to do with the metaphysical. That's all I'm going to say about that.
And yeah, so I also, when I protect myself every single time I'm getting into the bath. And when I've finished my bath, I ring my bells over it again. I thank my angels for protecting me, and I let everything that doesn't need to come with me go out in the bath water. So, you know, I think the whole thing about rituals and magic, I do call myself a witch. That was one of the downloads that I had right in the beginning when we were living in Ireland. Ireland is so beautiful. Oh, and it was lockdown. And I was going mad. And I ended up going into the forest for hours at a time and, you know, lying on the forest floor once and spoke to a mushroom, a tiny little coral fungus, for about 4 or 5 hours. And I wasn't on psychedelics. I was just speaking to this mushroom. And I became a witch. And where was I going with this? Protection. Protection, yeah. So you just need to make sure that you think about it every day. You protect yourself. And it is a daily thing for me as well.
Yeah. So I start my day, because I'm very empathic. She says she's definitely sensitive. That's another word for empathic. Yeah, if I do walk around and shield twice a day, I start my day that way. I end my day that way. When I get up in the morning, I am grounding and shielding, and I'm protecting myself for the day, but I'm also getting rid of anything that tried to get me at night. At night, I'm getting rid of everything that happened to me during the day and getting prepared for the night so that I can battle off whatever comes at you at the night. But yeah, it will come at you from every angle. And especially when an empath gets pregnant, holy hell. Okay, let me tell you, you're those emotions and those things that you're going to pick up on everybody will be all over the place. That's why we cry at watching a stupid commercial. I mean, it's like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I cry in commercials.
Right?
I'm not pregnant.
Oh.
Crying commercials. I cry.
All that kind of. It's like, it's just ridiculous. But you can ground and shield so that kind of stuff doesn't happen. Like, a lot of empaths can't go to like Walmart. They'll be leaving there going, I don't know what's going on. They're happy, they're sad, they're ready to kill someone. That they're gonna find Mama D. Help me with this situation. But it's true. Grounding and shielding. I'm making a joke of it, but it's not a joking matter at all. It's a real thing, and that you need to get under control. And the only way you're going to do that is grounding and shielding. And if you have to do it 4 or 5 times a day, that's what you got to do. Another good thing is this selenite wand. All right, just keep it. This. All right, look at this. A little hunk. You can get little hunks of selenite. Grab this, throw it in your pocket, have it with you. All right, because you can just kind of get everybody else's energy, all around away.
I carry around a little orgone heart that was made for me by one of my students as well. And orgone is great for picking up all the
the negative stuff. Yeah, and I wear all my protection things. I have my protection bracelets, my hematite, my tiger eye. My onyxes are good protection for me. So many stones are good. Amethyst is a great thing for a woman to have around. I'm wearing smoky quartz today. I don't have all my good stuff, and I opted for a different bracelet. But I have like all my stones are all right here. And then the difference between, I think, a raw one and a polished one. A raw one, if you're really in rough shape, like it will help you quicker. I feel it. You know what I mean? It's like I'd rather have a raw stone than a polished stone sometimes, depending on the situation. But it's good to get a good book on all kinds of crystals. Get a book on grounding and shielding. Get a book on smudging. Get a book on all that kind of stuff. There are books for everything.
I'm a big fan of holy water. Make your own holy water. Bless your water and put protection in the water and drink it. And I have a little jug, a little bottle of holy water on my altar now, and I keep adding little drops to it. And every now and then when I really need protection, I put on my finger and I anoint myself on the third eye.
Nice. When I do a house cleansing, I have all my special vials, depending on what I'm getting rid of. I have, different oils and mixtures and compounds for whatever it is that I'm getting rid of. The holy water is a must, and I seal all the windows and the doors with the holy water, but I also do myself to go in, so ground, shield, protection, go,
Did you grow up Catholic by any chance?
Yes.
Me too. So we are very ritualistic.
Yes. And OCD on top of that. So I'm very ritualistic, but it works, so that's the thing. All right. There's a lot of comments here. So Mama, what is it on? Oh, so this one here, she wears a chakra bracelet. Yep. I have this one is a chakra bracelet right here. This one is my chakra bracelet. I don't wear it every day, but a lot of days. Oh, sorry. Usually I know my throat chakra, my third eye is usually shut. Usually that your third eye chakra. Okay.
And Carmen likes the amethyst, but she finds that it doesn't work for her.
Well, what are you asking it to do? I mean, amethyst is good for your feminine energy. It's not going to really do anything for you. I have a protection fox right here. This is onyx, that I always wear when I go into battle. I've got
my jade Taurus, which hangs around over my heart.
See? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And I also love jade. Jade is also a nice thing to have.
Do you know Michael Tellinger's work at all?
Sorry?
What?
Michael Tellinger. Do you know his work at all?
I do not.
Oh, he's a South African guy. He's really amazing. He does a lot of work on the Taurus, but there's giants in Africa. There's fossilized giants, and he takes people on tours of Adam's calendar. He's quite a wizard. He's very cool.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now this too, She don't get shadow. She gets ringing. I get ringing. That's what I get. I have 3 different tones: low, medium, high. The low is not good. Medium, high is good. Carmen, the only terror she gets, dream going back to her old job. So it's funny. Hematite, chakra.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep, those are all good. That's all good. Okay. So I'm going to kind of skip over some of these. I will talk about those later. John is here. Hi, John. He's a nice psychic friend of mine, and he's wonderful too. So we're talking about all kinds of things, John. But this woman drew every single one of these goddess cards, and this deck is amazing. So also about this deck in the book, when you read in the book about the card itself, it also has accupoints, accupoints that go with that card. And so it's the practice, and it's like, so what the card is about, you have that, and then you practice, and it's just like your instructions, it's all.
It is, John.
It's
so
all.
What I wanted to do with it was I wanted to make the cards as accessible and easy for the lay person as possible, but also as intricate and layered for the professional, like for holistic healers as possible. So if you just want to grab a card and look at what it's got on it, like if you grab the first one, the Goddess of Womb Essence, and she says, come into harmony with your cycle, and she's wood and earth. If that's all you needed to see for that day, that's what it is. Come into harmony with your cycle, and you breathe into it. But if you look at the card, it has, if you look in the book, it has emotions. And so the emotions are empathy, harmony, jubilance, and life. And then it has an explanation, which is about how do you feel about your womb space? And it's about your cycle. It's about what your body does as a woman. And do you maybe not, is it not working as intended? For example, people going through puberty, women going through menopause, for example. But it talks about really coming back into harmony with the heartbeat of the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is one of the 2 or 3 cards that has 2 accupoints, and it has these 2 accupoints, and it shows you how to use them if you're going to be doing the acupressure part of it. And then there's a practice. And for this particular one, for the Goddess of Womb Essence, who's not entirely human either, she's got little horns. This is a rebirthing. You go into your own womb in the meditation, and you love and bless that space from within, and then you birth yourself out of your own womb. So it's a rebirthing out of your own body.
Wow.
And again, when I was writing this stuff, I was writing it going, I have no idea what's coming out of me. It was odd. I don't write like this. I do write. I'm a writer as well, but I write comedy fiction. So this is such a departure for me to do this kind of very dry, I have to say I have neuro-linguistic programming training, so I do know how to do the meditative talk, but it came out perfect. I didn't have to edit it. I didn't have to go back and change things. It just came out the way it was meant to be.
Right. John, do you channel too? Like this is channeled information. This is what it is,
Yes, and they work with the meridians, yeah.
Okay. Sorry. That was his question. And those cards look amazing. Where does one purchase them? What a good question.
So you can get them online on all of the online shops, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Simon & Schuster, Books A Million, Bookshop, and on Inner Traditions as well. And some of the bookshops have them in stock, but not only really in the bigger cities. In the smaller places, my friend who's in Texas said she had to go in and order them. So she says she's going into all the bookshops and she's going to order 3 in each one.
So she's got another deck that she's working on. She has 49 cards already drawn out, and they're still coming. So who knows how much,
the amount of a tarot deck, but not tarot.
This big. The deck can be this big. Or it can be two.
It's only 4 more cards, so it's not that much bigger.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, I need that deck when you're done.
I'll let you know. I'll send you a draft copy before it goes to print.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that'll be fun. I would love that. And she also has a website that she's like, about,
For some reason, I can't get to it, so I can't post it up here, which is really mean.
Yeah. So it's www.bronwynmillar.co.za. Z as in zebra. Okay.
Carmen says these are considered tarot. She spelled it. Spelling errors. She's like me. She types really
I
good.
consider them
Tarot,
oracle.
not oracle. No, I think these are oracle.
They are oracle, and so I have been experimenting a little bit, reading them in the Celtic Cross. I actually did one live the other day on Instagram, and it was so powerfully pertinent and personal that I was doing it on Instagram, and I actually had to keep editing myself because I thought I can't tell people what's going on.
Why not?
So you can use aspects of them for tarot because you could use the affirmations, the emotions, or
yeah, true.
Oh,
Do you have only one the Instagram account?
I have an Instagram account. It's Bronwyn E. Millar Author.
Goddess of Grief at the
Because
source. This is my biggest problem in the world right here. Is dealing with.
Yeah. So that goddess talks about a grief that has been with you for as long as you can remember, and it has painted your whole canvas gray. And it talks about how it's time to let go of that, to remember the good things, but to allow joy back into your life, because you are not defined by your grief. You are not your grief. Your grief is meant to pass through you. It is not meant to hold you hostage.
Yeah, that's a very powerful card. I'm getting very emotional right now too. So since my husband passed, and the dogs and the parents and everything, it's like a lot. And like after my husband passed, I never got to grieve him because I had to go into fight mode and close businesses mode, and try to work my businesses, and he was half of my businesses, and it was just he was young, so we weren't prepared and have to prepare and everything. It was just one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. So there was no time to grieve, and then I had to work and just save my house, so that's what I did. And then all of a sudden it's like, oof, every time the grief moments come up, that's what I do. It's like I make myself extremely busy so that you don't have to deal with the process. So that's a good card for me right now.
So that card came up in a constellation that we did 2 weekends ago. I have my friend Amanda is one of South Africa's preeminent family constellations gurus, really, and we're constellating the goddesses in workshops with women. And that goddess came up, and it was so pertinent to the issue that we were dealing with. And it was extremely powerful and heart-wrenching. One of the women was sobbing. But there was a resurrection afterwards, which was very beautiful. And that's actually grief. Grief opens a space in our hearts. It makes our hearts bigger so that we can accommodate more love. Once the grief has healed, your heart can hold more love. That is the message.
Now, I know you're channeling a new deck, but everything for right now is centered around goddesses. Do you think, so that the boys don't feel left out, that you'll be channeling gods?
I never thought I would. The only god I've ever channeled consistently is my husband, and he comes in as Pan, or I call him the horned one.
Okay.
Oh my God, my daughter would love that.
So he comes in with the horns as a fawn, like this very primal, prehistoric god. And since about a month ago, I channeled a military god of order and precision and peace. So a good military leader, a good general, makes sure that you stay in peace all the time, that there is order and stability and structure. That's my husband, 100%. He is absolutely pedantic about making sure that the day has structure. He does everything he does so well. But he orders us around as well, because we're all quite chaotic, the three of us. And he is a general, but he's a very benevolent general. So I channeled him, and he came in as this elephant, Nguni elephant, but he's also an Nguni bull, which is a kind of cow, a South African cattle. Just the most beautiful, powerful creature. And then 2 nights ago, took me completely by surprise. I channeled my brother's god. And my brother's god is a hawk god that is also a sun god. And he was around in Egyptian times, and he's a builder. He likes to build things. And so every time there's a megalithic structure to be made, my brother will incarnate as a my brother's very good looking, so he always has to incarnate into a very healthy, hale, big, strong, good looking body. It's part of his kind of godly vanity.
Okay.
And so I'm starting to channel gods too, which is so powerful for me. I didn't think that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Can you channel a god or a goddess from a loved one that's passed?
That's interesting. So I tried to channel my granny the other night, and she came in and she said, "No, I'm not a goddess now. I'm an angel."
Huh? Okay.
Nice.
John loves to use oracle. It allows better intuitive interpretation from the reader and allows energy to flow better, in his opinion. It's my opinion as well. And Carmen says, do the goddess spirit change or stay the same?
Well, they incarnate when you're born and they grow with you. So my teenage 16-year-old, her goddess right now is all about fun and laughter and mischief and wants to break the rules and push the boundaries and be a little bit wild and crazy. You know, she's very extra, my kid. I don't know where she gets it from.
No idea.
No idea at all. But I'm sure your mother would be able to tell you.
Yeah, so she pushes. I come from a line of extremely unconventional women. My granny was wild. My mum is wild, and you know, we just get more and more wild as we go. So my daughter's really quite amazing, and so this teenage spirit in her now is this rebellious teenage goddess, because she is that goddess at that age, and the goddess is enjoying experiencing being a teenager.
Oh yeah,
it's fun to be a teenager. So they grow with you and they mature with you.
I'm the wild one in my family. They're all, you know, I told you about my mom. She was just like, no, the strictest of the Catholics. And, you know, like I said, she wouldn't even tell me about a box of tampons, for Christ's sakes. You know, it was just, well, heaven forbid, talk about sex. No. Yeah. You know, it was like, no, it's forbidden. All right. But, you know, but we had this, I have, you know, 3 siblings. So there's 4 of us. And it was like my brother, my sister, 5 years later, me. So, yeah, I'm the wild child. I'm the totally different one. I'm the free spirit. I'm the one that does all the things, you know, and goes places. And
so I have 3 very, very normal brothers who are.
It's normal.
What's normal?
They think I'm a bit nuts, but it's fine. You know, when I was growing up, I remember being a little girl and being at a family event and looking around at my aunts and the distant cousins and everything, and I had sort of the aunts that would sit around and crochet and, you know, gossip and, you know, and judge a lot. And then I would have 1 or 2 really crazy aunts, like the ones that were wild and exciting and fun, maybe with weird clothes or whatever. And I used to think, I want to be like that.
Yes.
I never wanted to be one of the normies. How boring. I don't want to have a beige life. I really want to have a technicolor life, and I'm having it. And so I am extra. I say the things. I say the outrageous things, because you'll very quickly find your audience. If you walk into a room and you small talk, post-COVID, I'm never making small talk ever again. I'll walk up to people and I say, I think we're rushing towards a singularity and we're about to upgrade into another dimension. What do you think? And if they stick around for the conversation, then they're worth talking to.
Yep, exactly.
But if that scares them off, then they don't resonate with me. They're not my consensus reality. I'm going to be boring or strange to them, so I'm going to go find somebody who suits me. Yeah. Just like I left this job because I realized that I wasn't going to ever be allowed to be authentically myself in that place. And I can't ever let myself do that again. I want to be me.
Yeah.
I only have 1 chance at being Bronwyn in this lifetime, and I'm doing it as hard as I can.
You go, girl.
You're rocking it, girl.
I love it. Yeah. You know, I just been for all powerful women my whole life. You know, I've been my own boss. I've been, you know, my whole life. I think I only had, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 jobs that I worked for other people. And one of them, it was the one that taught me how to run my own business. And then I just did that. You know, it's like, you got to take charge. You got to. And then my dad used to always say, if someone else can do it, that means you can too. And the only difference between, you know, men and women, like you can do anything a man can do, and what you can't, you can get a mule to do it just for the sheer power of it. But, you know, I had the muscle too. I could still do that too. So, I mean, Yeah, I'm broken down now, you know, but
Yeah.
I spent, you know, my whole life doing construction and doing this and doing that just because someone else can do it. Yes, I can too, you know,
Yeah.
and I did.
Good.
Okay.
But I love it when women are powerful and strong and stand up for themselves. And yes, we have, you know, it doesn't mean you have to be a man. You're not going to be a man. Do I look like a man? I mean, maybe I do to some people, but I don't think I do, you know, and I don't try to be a man. I can do a man's job better than the man.
Yes, I did boxing for years. I did boxercise. I'm very strong. I'm powerful. And I'm also like, I cut my hair really short. I don't really wear makeup. I don't bother with clothes. My daughter's like a clothes horse and fashion, like all accessories and the makeup. I don't know where she gets it from because it's not me. But I'm 100% a woman.
Yeah.
You know, even if I didn't do any of the female things, I had no earrings and shaved my head, I'd still be a woman. You know, it's not something you can run away from. And the divine feminine energy is rising in all of us, and it doesn't matter what you look like.
Yep.
You have to accept it.
Exactly.
And I think we also like we're going through gender stuff in the world at the moment because of this divine masculine feminine thing doing this thing, and we're all going through weird stuff around it.
Oh yeah.
You know, I know that you know, it's like every time I think that the world is getting on an even keel, something
kicks it off.
Has to disrupt it, and I think, you know, that's a big part of it, you know.
And it's the divine feminine returning. It's messing all of those paradigms up.
Exactly. Now, the conversation that you ladies were just having, and I was shuffling my cards, and I just drew a card automatically. And this was, I didn't even look at it until after you guys were finished chit-chatting. You're going to love this one.
Yes.
Yes, she's killing herself now. It's the goddess of the truest self, the sparkling, powerful essence of self, water and ether.
And she's the only ether goddess in the deck.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is what we were just talking about. You have to be yourself. You have to be, you know. And
I have to also say, we're all born in the right body.
Yeah.
You know, that's the other thing. You're born in the body you're supposed to be born in. You have to accept that. That's that root. That's why so many people are so messed up right now, because they're not accepting that fact. You're born in this body. If you were born without legs, you'd have to accept that. Just be born in the body you're in and love it all the way through your life, and dress however you want to dress and express yourself however you want to express yourself, but love yourself and don't think that you were made wrong, because you were made perfectly you. Everybody's made perfect. Even if you're born with no arms and no legs and no eyes, that's the perfect body that you chose to be born in. That was the perfect life you were meant to lead because it happened. So it's perfect.
Yeah. So, and that's this life. You know what I mean? That's one life, because you're going to have many.
Feminine, the divine masculine, they're going to come together. And when that happens, that's the upgrade we're waiting for.
Yes. Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, that coming together here, that's what sparked this whole deck.
Exactly.
Come together.
They'll mute me on Facebook if I start singing it. So just we do not own the rights to that song. They just hit the moment. That's all.
Oh God.
So what was the first time you remember, if from as young as you can remember, or the first time it hit you and you kind of went, what the heck is that? Before you knew exactly who you were and what you're doing.
I realize in hindsight that I've been psychic my whole life, and I've often not, I've ignored it or I've forgotten it. So when I became obsessed with aliens in 2020, with UFOs and aliens, and watching, you know, experiencer videos. I got very into the experiencer stuff very quickly and was watching it. And then one day it just came to me, and I remembered being a little girl, maybe 4 or 5, in my bedroom, and we had one of the very early motion sensor lights came on outside my window, and I saw silhouetted little heads moving across my curtain, so shadows cast, and they would only have been sort of 3 foot tall. And I looked at that, and I heard a noise that sounded like turkey gobbling, strange noise. And I sat up. Now, I was a kid who had night terrors, who slept in my mom's bed almost every night. I used to have screaming nightmares. So I was a scared, anxious little girl. I sat up and I looked at this and I thought, oh, it's just the goblins. I have to go back to sleep. And I lay down calmly and went back to sleep. And I remembered that years later because it was out of character. That's terrifying. You see that, you're going to be scared. But I knew not to be scared, and I knew that they were green, and they had weird eyes and weird heads. I knew that they were green, weird-eyed looking creatures.
Okay.
Wow.
So, and I've had like experiences over the years. I'll never forget one morning going to work, waking up in the morning and feeling so anxious. I wanted to throw up, and I couldn't figure out why. And I got to work, and this anxiety just got worse and worse. And I actually parked outside, and I phoned my mom. We were in business together. I said, please come in. I can't actually work today. I don't know what's wrong with me. And while I was sitting in the car, a couple pulled up with their little kid. They'd been in before, and they went into the shop, and I thought, oh, I better go in. So I followed them in, and I was trying to work, but I actually could barely talk. I was so nauseous with anxiety. And we had an upstairs section. We sold carpets, and we used to use the upstairs balcony, which we put up a very basic railing to hang carpets over.
Okay.
But it was always locked, and the shop had just been opened, and so nobody had gone up there yet, and that door should have been locked. And this little 3-year-old kid, 2.5, ran up the stairs, and he'd been up there before because he'd been there before. He knew that he could go upstairs, and there were carpets to jump on. And the parents were talking to me, and suddenly I ran up the stairs after this urge, and I got to the top, and the door was open. And this little boy was leaning over he was crawling through the hole, and he would have fallen down in front of his parents. And he would have, and I grabbed him, and I grabbed his leg and his body, and I pulled him back through, and he was screaming and fighting me. Now, and instantly, then I burst into tears, and the anxiety was gone. And I realized that now that there was another timeline, that little boy died in front of his parents, and I was broken by it. And so I chose to change it in that moment.
It's funny because that's a movie I was watching this morning, and it was something, The Secrets of Applewood or something like that house. It's a Tubi movie. It's a good one, actually, if you guys want to watch it. And it's like this thing going back and forth in time, and she wants to go back and she wants to try to save this woman that's like kind of trapped and bad things happen. But it was just going back and forth, and it was just kind of neat because I'm going, that's really how we are, because we have these multiple levels of where we are, So it was good. Oh, Bob's home.
Hi, Bob.
He went out tonight with the guys.
Excuse me?
They did
cigar. Brought something back for us.
Yes, he had a cigar manly night.
There you go.
So
long as nobody touched my calves, you're okay.
What did that say?
There you go. I said, so long as nobody touched my calves, you're okay.
So wow, incidents like that happen to me a lot. Oh yeah, I mean I've done things. I got very quick instincts, reflexes, things too. But this one I just pulled too while you were like talking about that. It's the goddess of the great abyss, reforge and refuel. And it's metal and fire. Now, when you say it's metal and fire.
Okay, so my obsession in my training as a kinesiologist is in the 5 elements of traditional Chinese medicine: fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. And so that's how I started first thinking that the goddesses were going to be elemental. And so I started writing them like that. And then I realized that there were also air goddesses. And so that the goddesses were operating in 2 planes. There were 5 elements because that was my training, but there were also 4 elements because 4 elements is important to the entire Western world. But they're elemental goddesses because they are about this carbon reality that we're in, and they're about healing us in this carbon reality so that we're able to upgrade our DNA.
A lot of thought has gone into this, and a lot of channeling. But I'm telling you, I love your artwork.
Yeah. Oh God, shit.
Really do. And if you guys are just, Bob says hi to you. If you're just joining, the artwork, she's drew every single one of these cards. They were downloaded to her, so she channeled every one of these goddesses. In her book, it tells you what they are, how they can help you, accupoints that can help you physically. So between, you know how you have acupressure points all over your body. It's like what pertains to this one card that can help with all of this. So this is a multi-use deck. And like she said, when she first started this, it was just a book. It wasn't even the cards yet. And a lot of people in the field were using just the book holistically, and it was working wonders for them. So now that you have the deck, it can work
Sky's the limit.
everybody.
And the thing is, y'all know that I've got like 40 decks of cards, okay? But this deck, I didn't open it until tonight because I got it a while back and I was like, oh. And when I finally, Gina told me what they were, I was like, even better. I said, I'm not going to open them until the show. And I did it right here in front of them. And I just started shuffling the cards. And when I connect, everybody connects with their cards differently. So when I connect with cards, generally I hold them between my palms like this. And I'll see what the energy that I get. But because I fell in love with the artwork, I had to just look at each picture. And trust me, there's going to be one card that will just, like, as I call it, full body shivers. Whatever it is that you know that you're connected with spirit, when that moment happens, one of these cards is going to make you feel that. And it will, because you look at the decks, you look at the cards.
It was that great one.
Yeah. You look at the cards, the book, of most books, and they just give you a rough idea of what the book's about. And it's nothing, they're all basically the same. This is different.
And it's even got colored pictures.
It's got both.
So my story of finding inner traditions was amazing because I'd made the deck, but they were I'd made the book, but it was in black and white. I hadn't colored them in yet, and I started looking for publishers. And I looked for the best deck publishers. I sent to all of them, and then I got replies from 2. One of them very interested. She said, I'm going on maternity leave. Please get back to me. I'll get back to you. And she never got back. And eventually, about a year later, after I've been working on coloring them in, I got a message to say she'd not come back from maternity leave, and they were no longer doing oracle decks. The other bite that I had, basically, they said, well, we'll look at publishing you in 2026 or 2027, but we're not doing it the way you want it. It's only going to be the 5 elements. We're not doing the 4 elements because it's too confusing. And they had like a whole of reasons why. And I just said, no, I don't want that. No. They have to go as they make.
It has to be what you created. It's what it is.
Self-pub, and then I'd been working with these cards now for 5 years with the goddesses and the books, and all of these friends of mine had been working, so I really knew how they worked and that they did work and they had good provenance. And I made a book, and I was going to be self-publishing it as a book. I thought, let me do it as a book so I can sell it somehow. And just before I did, I thought, okay, I'm going to send this out to one more publisher, and I'm going to send it out to only the one publisher that is in all of the books that I love the most. It's always Inner Traditions or Bearing Company. And it's the same company. So I sent out one to Bear & Company and one to Inner Traditions. 7 minutes later, I got a response. These are amazing. I've never seen anything like this. I think we want them, but I need to show them to my colleagues. And I think a week later, I had a yes. So they were.
And is great. I mean, like 90% of our shows are through them, through that company. So yeah, all the authors, all the deck people, all the everything, they're all amazing, and all different things, but.
And they never wanted me to trim anything. There were a few things they said, for example, American spelling. They changed everything to American spelling. And there were a few words that they would say, look, in the vernacular, this means something else here. Do you mind if we change a word here, a word there?
Okay.
They never wanted to. Nothing. They didn't challenge any of the major things about the cards. They loved every single aspect.
How can you not? I'm sorry. I love these things. I love these cards.
I haven't used them yet. We haven't, we only did a couple reading shows, but I haven't used them yet because I wanted to talk to you first, and I wanted to,
so prepare next reading show. Hello.
Yeah, next reading show, definitely.
Yay.
Yeah.
We'll let you know when we do the show, the next reading show. And we'll tag you in it so you get to come and see us if you want and just see what we're doing.
I would love that.
Or you could join in and pull some cards for people for your deck.
I would even love that even more.
Okay.
Would anybody that's still in here, like Heather, would you like her to draw a card for you? Because she said she can't
wait to get the deck. That's what I call retail therapy. When I see a good book or a good deck, well, most of my decks I love. Every deck I've never yet found a deck that won, and that was only because there was too much. Anyway, we won't go there.
I've never given I don't give a crap about clothes or buying things, but there are things, books and things like oracle decks and crystals. I have no self-control.
Yeah,
Heather said she would love
books. I love my books. Crystals, yeah, I got a ton of those. And my decks, I got a ton of those. Now that's thanks to Mama D. She got me totally addicted onto the decks. So I think, I don't know. Oh, she said she would love that.
She would love if you would draw a card for her.
Oh, awesome. Shall I draw?
Yes, please.
You're the guest of honor here. You're going to come right from the source. I mean, what better can you get? And maybe we'll each pull one. We'll each pull one from our decks for her. And Skylar says that would be so cool too.
This is the goddess of universal forgiveness. And she is a fire and air. So fire, burn it, and air, speak about it. She says, scatter the ashes. Okay.
I got the goddess of abyss again. So goddess of the great abyss, reforge and refuel, and again metal and fire.
Awesome.
So the combination.
A little bit of the goddess of universal forgiveness. She says her emotions are forgiveness, compassion, and truth. This goddess wants you to talk about forgiveness. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it'll take too long. Well, it doesn't take that long. But she knows how hard it is to forgive, and some hurts have held trauma from before we were even born. Sometimes the hurts were terribly cruel. And this talks about the heavy burden that you're carrying in response to other people's actions, and that is not yours. It also says that we don't absolve people because that's not up to you. But you can release yourself from the heaviness of those bonds, and you can allow yourself a deep and profound healing, and also sever that energetic bond. It really talks about how forgiveness is healing for self, but it also talks about keeping yourself protected in any situation and not, forgiving yourself as well for any pain you may have harbored. And this is the point, and it is heart 8. This is a very important emotional point, heart 8. By the way, that's heart 8 there. Heart 10, which is just a bit further down, is the heart attack point. If someone you know is having a heart attack, you rub there. But anyway, heart 8 is the emotional point on that heart meridian. That's where you rub. And the practice has you finding a safe place, and then going into deep forgiveness, cutting energetic bonds. And then you rub each side as you do the practice. And then the affirmation is, I release the hurts in my past so that I may find my truth. So that was Heather's card.
Right. Now, when Mama D and I do these cards, they always coincide. When you began that, you were talking, this goes right along with what you were saying. So this is the goddess of the great abyss, reforge and refuel, metal and fire. First thing it says is, have you struggled with feelings of bitterness, scorn, or contempt? Which is what you were talking about. Have you been having these feelings directed at you? Have you felt as though you are on a path not of your own choosing as a result of things that have happened in the past? Do you feel that you or others deserve to be karmically punished? It is time, dear heart, to let go. All right, so this is kind of what your card is about as well. So this is like a different aspect of the same thing. The pain that is hardened inside of you into bitterness is holding you back. You must forgive, you must release, and you must move on. Bring to mind that the events and that those feelings are rooted in. Bring to mind the events that these feelings are rooted in. Jesus, these glasses, I need new ones. The very source of the whole thing. See where you may not have acted from your highest self, and acknowledge this, and see where others have not acted from their highest self, and get ready to release the pain that has been tied to this. Remember, even if you were wronged, or if you did wrong in the past, you deserve to forgive so that you can move on. The accupoint is here, and it's for your lungs. It's right there. And so that's to help with sighing, wheezing, and asthma. That's really, I love it when cards like.
Yeah, that's amazing, because they were both really about forgiveness.
Right. Yep. Soothing, forgiveness, calm into yourself, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm not going to read all the whole affirmation but yeah. And Mama, if you pull the card,
Oh, the goddess of the ravine.
Yes, goddess of the ravine. I stand unshaken on this earth. And in the beginning of the book, she gives us two elements, and it's the Chinese element and the Western element, both of our earth. And says the goddess is the crone, is a crone, and I love the crone. She is a witch. She is the witch woman, the herb wife. She comes to us to tell us of the wise ways of the elder woman, and the attack that had to go on, to go through to be of the earth, to hold on to the power of the feminine healing, feminine magic. She has scars and stories. She is rooted deep into the earth spirit, offers assurance to us. She pulses with the wisdom, wisdom, its land itself. She is the curve of the mountain, the carved of the V of the ravine. She speaks to us of embracing the crone within, of releasing attachment to the physical, two notions of only youth, young beauty, being beauty, of loving the fullness of a ripe and adventurous life, as well as the smooth cheek of innocence and inexperience. She has borne the brunt of being unconventional, of being an unconventional woman. She promises you that faith in the future will bring incredible gifts. Have you ever felt attacked for having an unconventional stance? Or would you just like to let go of the conventions of being a woman that don't have to sit and be well with you? And this one is connected to the spleen, which is what, about here?
So spleen 18, which is here, just sort of above the breast.
Just above the breast. So when you focus on these, when we focus with each, you're welcome, Helen, with each acupoint, is this what we just push on it? Is it?
Is Bobby okay?
Is he
Yeah.
okay?
Okay, he just knocked something over. He's okay.
Is it a point where you're just pressing, or are you rubbing?
It says the practice. Go to the practice. It tells you what to do.
To do that for the practice, you just have to hold.
Oh,
the
I like
point.
that. Well,
So I did quite a
Okay.
lot of research into the points as well. So I was very careful.
Mhm.
I muscle tested, I surrogated for each goddess, and I got her emotions, her elements, her accupoints.
Okay.
And then I went into the accupoints and I would check to see, is this an accupoint that can be rubbed? And some of them can't be.
Okay.
So
Yes,
if
that's
it
what
was
this-
an accupoint that can't be
yeah.
rubbed, then you just do that. Or not one that can't be rubbed. So the problem is some accupoints you can rub with impunity and nothing will happen. But there are some that if you rub them, you might cause suppression. So that's why I was very careful. Like there's ones that, for example, you just hold your hands across like that.
So when the puppy knocked the dish over, I didn't know if you saw that. She says, "Wow, that's amazing. Absolutely dead on. I've been having a hard time forgiving for something that hurt me very badly." So yeah, so like you have a lot of good energy behind you to get you over that right now. So I think that's really cool. Do you think we could do this again for My Little Parakeet? If we could all pull a card, starting with you.
Sure. Okay.
My little Skylar.
The goddess of walking the way. And she is earth and air. Okay. 27. So she says, be present in this moment, neither looking ahead nor behind, just being here. And her emotions are about deprivation and contentment. This goddess wants us to experience life in this moment, to fully immerse oneself in the beauty and miracle of life right now. There may be areas in your life where you've been feeling unsatisfied or deprived, either now or in the past, or you may have concerns about not having enough in the future. While it is, of course, always good to be mindful of making plans for future contentment, you may be dwelling too much on worrying about future problems or past traumas. You may feel obligated to hoard or load up on too much, to allay fears of not having enough later. Stop. You are missing so much beauty and opportunity in this moment right now. While life is a journey these days, it often feels like most of it is spent going from one milestone to another, milestone or issue to the next, while missing the wonderful things that are happening in the ordinary life. Worrying about next year's harvest while worrying about last year's drought means you're missing out on potential right here, right now. And the affirmation for this one, I'm not going to go through the whole practice with each one, but the affirmation is, It is okay to have enough. It is okay to be enough. It is okay to be content in this moment.
Yep.
Wow. So I got, this is the goddess of the elegant mansion. Water and soil make clay. And it's a water and earth card, but that's the card itself. Okay. I freaking love this. The goddess asks you to be less critical of yourself, darling one. You are absolutely able to do what you want to do. You are able to build the life you want, and you are in need of self-care. Give yourself credit for all the things you have done, the things that you've proven to be good at. Realize that you have already overcome so many obstacles, survived so much. Now is the time, dear one, to take a brave step. Not only can you already do it, but you are already doing it. Just thinking about the plans you make and the first actions to stepping into your future. Think of the things or things that you dream of doing in your life, and think of how your life will be when you get to that place. When you need to get there, what you need, what do you already have? How do you take that first step? Trust that you have the gifts you need to manifest the future you deserve. God, I think this is so perfect for you, little one. And then your acupoint is kidneys, which is 2 spots right here. And your affirmation is, I trust myself to build my life in the way that works for me. Everything I need for happiness is already within me. So this is a great way. She's 9 years old. This is a great way to start your life. I know you've already had dealing with paradrama and everything, and this is all about that. I swear
Excuse me, drama around a 9-year-old? No.
Yes. They were attacking this poor girl, saying, you're too young, blah, blah, blah. They were attacking us for supporting her. You can't take a 9-year-old to places. And it's like, she is not an ordinary 9-year-old. You have no idea what you're talking about. And we all hopped on this poor person that attacked her. And it's like, no, you don't. You don't know her. You don't know what she's about. She's got a lot of protection around her. She has a lot of all her family and all her people that are supporting her, protecting her, guiding her, teaching her. She has a lot,
Yeah. She's not going in willy-nilly and unknown. Yeah.
Right.
So it's not like half the adults who go into one place by themselves for the very first time with the phone camera going, and I'm in here and
No, she asks unbelievable questions. She asks very perfect questions at investigations. She's very good. But did you pull a card for her?
I know I did. Goddess of the weeping world, my sorrow sink into the soil, earth, and it's number 20. And what I like about this is that there's so much growing. Okay, like when I do cards, there's something on the card that sort of stands out to me. And this is what was drawn to me was the leaves growing, the plants growing around her. I know you probably have a different meaning to behind this, but for me, I see this as that everything that you put your heart and mind to will grow. It's not just something like, if you want to just try it for the fun of it, you'll be fine. But if your heart or your mind are set on doing something, girl, go for it because it'll work.
So that card is an interesting one to pull for a little girl because, interestingly enough, when I wrote that goddess, I was thinking about my children. So she's the goddess of weeping for the world. And what she says is, whatever pain you're holding in about the state of the world and, the people talking about climate change and, just like terrible things that are happening in the world and wars and all the rest. And these are too heavy for us. We should not be imbibing and partaking in all the atrocities in the world all the time. And we are, and they're being fed to us in media everywhere we go. And my children specifically, were having climate angst where they were crying themselves to sleep because they thought the world was going to end.
Yep.
I was like, well, firstly, it's not. It's going to be okay. The goddess is looking after us. We're going to be fine. Yeah. It's just some dimensional stuff we're going through. But it was really, this goddess says, give me your tears. Pass them to me and go out and have a joyful life. I will cry for you. I will cry those tears for you. You go out and have fun.
I like that one. I
liked all those kinds.
Nice.
These.
We might be a little biased, but
Yeah, we're definitely going to be using these in our next card show. I think they're amazing, and I'm glad I waited. I'm glad I waited to play with these until you were here, and now it just means so much more. And it's like, yeah, the energy coming up. I've been really kind of touching these cards this whole entire show, and it's like my hands heat up, but it's like a healing time, and they've been heating up over this deck, which is
beautiful.
You know, yeah, so they're going to be used to hopefully heal a lot of people.
Oh gosh, yes, yes. And the thing is, each time we draw cards, they're different cards, but they all end up coming back into the same thing. There's always connected.
Oh my goodness.
And this says, I'm going to Amazon now and ordering it. Love them. Oh, awesome, awesome.
Aww.
Lovely, thank you.
That's awesome.
You're very welcome, Skylar.
Yeah, now I'm like, okay, now I know what these were about. I can't wait for this next one.
God, that was our first ever reading.
Proofreader too. I mean, you know,
beautiful. That's a little goddess right there.
Yep.
She is. She's a powerful little being right there. You know.
Could you stop stepping on the cat, please? Go away.
One day I'll have to hand over my title of Parafox over
the parakeet.
The parakeet. She will mature into the Parafox when I retire. Someday.
Her name is Coco. She is a huge baby, and she's daddy's little baby, but she always comes down during the show. Could we please? There's no food there. Thank you very much.
She's got 2 dogs and a cat over there.
And my cat's a ginger.
Oh, of course. You must have a ginger familiar.
Of course.
Every ginger must have a ginger familiar.
Exactly. And the thing was, I found him. We moved into this house 10 plus years ago. And my husband was allergic to cats, so never thought about getting another cat. Because when we first met, I had a cat. And then I saw this teeny tiny little, I heard him mewing on the back porch. And it was tiny. The eyes were barely just open. And I said, okay, I will wait a bit because Mama Cat's going to come around. And I could hear it meowing the whole time. And I looked at my husband going, do you love me? And he was like, okay, fine, go get your cat. And he's never had any allergy reaction to the cat.
Wow. Meant to be.
Yeah.
I have the same story with my Coco. I have a dog called Coco, and my husband's allergic to all dogs. And I desperately he would let me have a dog, but they were never allowed in the bedroom, and his eyes would get itchy. And so I needed a dog. We got a little dog, this little boy, Coco. He came to us called Coco. He ran into my husband's arms instantly. And he has been Stephen's dog ever since. And Stephen's not allergic to him. It's the only 2 dogs in his life that he hasn't been allergic to. That dog and my little dog, Maya, my little day puppy that I had.
Oh, that's one thing. I'm knocking on wood. I don't have any allergies to any animals that I know of. You know?
No, you don't have, well, you do have allergies to animals. Stupid, dramatic animals on 2 legs. I'm sorry.
Yeah, some of those. But, you know, the 2-legged ones, yeah, definitely. But not the 4-legged ones.
No.
Thank God. But 2-legged, you can be birds. I'm not allergic to them either. But I just love all animals. I really do. And I definitely connect with them.
Because that's unconditional love. There's no, you don't have to feed, yes, but you don't have to feed anything to an animal to love you. You just have to be kind to it. Just be, with an animal. You don't have to, stroke its ego. You don't have to,
if they can get over the fact that when I see them, I go, oh!
Well, I don't know.
Don't go running.
Well, I'm even going to run when you do that.
We had our big event that I was telling you about. Where we had like a lot of vendors and a lot of celebrities and a lot of stuff. But we had the ASPCA there. That's right, with the animals, and they had all the puppies and stuff under the tent, so you could adopt them.
Oh goodness gracious!
God, it was a black dog. I don't even know what kind of. I don't know if it was a mix something, but it looked like a little lab mix.
Mm-hmm.
But I fell in love with it instantly. But someone said that they were taking it, and then come to find out that the person that took it couldn't take it and returned it the next day, and I didn't know about it because otherwise I think that dog would have come home with me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I love them. But I'm still obsessing over Pomeranians right now.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you all again. I love you, beautiful ladies. Have a blessed night. Well, we love you too. Oh, thank you.
Thank you for hanging with us, Heather.
Thank you, Heather. I love you too.
She's got the perfect hair because she's got the red shirt underneath her heart.
That's true, eh?
Yeah. I like it.
This has been, I know we've got about 10 minutes left, but this has been an interesting show. I mean, aside from the fact we got these lovely decks, okay? The connection of you with the decks, and it's like, we've had people who've created decks before and come on, but it's always been, more often than not, it's somebody else who did the drawing and they did the words.
Right.
And yours came together differently.
Oh, yeah.
Like your words came first and then came your picture, your cards. So
no,
it was like,
the goddesses came first and then the words came after that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so not words, but the book came first because that's how you knew it would be worth it. And most people, like I said, most books, when you get an oracle deck, is like they're all basically the same. That's why there's very few times I'll read a book. I'll look over it, I'll peruse it. If there's a meaning behind it, if there's something a little bit different about it, that makes me catch my eye and go, okay, I'm gonna read this book. But I mean, I looked at the cards, I was like, ooh. And then you were explaining about the decks, the way the book was read. And I was like, so this gives you more than just the basics.
Right.
This
so this is, in
another
other words,
step.
it's like a deck
out there and buy the deck.
Consulting the book for because of the points and the practices and the stuff like that. So yeah, because usually I haven't even cracked the books on most of my cards because I just it's
a different type of connection. But this one, you want to know what it's about. We want to know what you drew, what drew you to this one, what made it something special. And I'm going to have to take this one, and I'm going to have to take this one, blow it up, and put it on the background of my computer and turn my computer screens that way so it looks right.
Beautiful. So the other thing that happened was when I was doing the chakra goddesses, while I've been drawing the chakra goddesses, I came across this amazing woman who does quantum codes. And it was a free PDF that you could print off online. And I was using them in my practice. I still practice. I still see clients all the time. I'm actually creating a completely unique style of holistic healing based on kinesiology, kind of, but different. I call it evolvology. Okay. And it's all downloading. I've had massive downloads. I'm actually kind of more writing a workbook, my evolvology workbook, than I am writing the other deck right now because it's coming in fast and strong. But as I was saying, I'm still working with clients. Oh my goodness, it's 4 a.m. here, I think.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, you're good.
But
bless you for staying up for us.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm also watching this dog, so it's.
And then watching that. Well, you look amazing for 4 a.m. I'm yawning over here, and it's like 10, and 9 o'clock, and on every other night, I'm in bed at 9 o'clock.
I had a really strong coffee. And so I had this thing where I wanted to contact the woman. I said, look, I really want to put your codes into my goddesses. And I wrote to her on every platform I could find her on, and she didn't respond to any of the messages. And I was quite upset because I wanted to be able to put them in. And then I had a download from my goddesses that said, the drawings are a code. So just looking at the drawing is a code in itself. And I don't know if you noticed that each of the goddesses has at least one yoni. So she's got a yoni on her chest, on her chest. Some of them have a yoni further up. And
that's funny because that's the card that I pulled when you did that.
Yeah.
Just cut the deck, and it was that card that you pulled.
Amazing. Yeah, they're definitely, there's definitely something sentient in these cards. But they all have their little, and some of them have two. So she's got one above and one below. But there's a code when you look at them, and it's instant divine feminine healing. It's a yoni carbon body healing. It really is. The
What's
yoni.
the woman's name that you were trying to get a hold of? Because I think we might have had her.
Unusual name. I can't remember her name, but she's.
Did she work with her husband?
I can't remember, but she did work with other people to do the codes, and they just download codes and write them down. So I use them as a kind of museologist. If the codes come up, I say, well, where do I write this on the person's body or in their field? And I write.
I have to look up my book over there to see who it was, but it was all about the codes and everything. And you can go online, do a quiz, and you get downloads and all this stuff. So I'm just wondering if it's the same woman. Mama, do you remember that? But it was the pair of them. We had a man and a woman. I think they were in New Zealand or something.
They weren't American, I know that.
Okay, but I think they were in New Zealand when we interviewed them. But I'm not sure. But it was like codes and symbols and where you were on a rating scale.
I can't remember.
It was a long time ago. It was really neat. It was really, really neat, powerful stuff.
And the code stuff is amazing because it is all codes. We are code. I mean, we're currently binary code, and we're about to become trinary code when the upgrade happens. I had another thing that happened is I had this vision of the DNA helix, and inside the DNA helix was a light strand. This happened about 6-7 months ago, and I saw this DNA, and I saw this like powerful light strand in the middle of it, and that DNA is some kind of wormhole, that there's space-time folded into DNA. And I saw these weird things that were folded in, and I saw the space-time folded in strangely around those little rungs of the ladder. And then I saw, I was watching an unrelated thing on UFOs, this woman called Kelly Chase, who has the UFO Rabbit Hole, great podcast. And she spoke about seeing something in a vision that was a DNA, there was DNA with a light strand in the middle and these weird little things, candy canes folded onto it. And I thought, I've seen that.
Oh,
wow.
And then she got a guy onto her show called Tom Matt, who has something called Upside. And he had seen that too. That's how they're connected. And so part of this stuff is healing our DNA. It's the chakra stuff too. It's to heal our DNA in this body, in this carbon body, in this lifetime, at this time, which is one of the most important pivotal times of all time. This is like really, this is a portal that we're in. And we have to heal the carbon body because you can't ascend properly until you've figured this out and from this and healed this. And that doesn't mean that you've got to be like whatever it is. I mean, cancer free or free of your ALS or free of your Parkinson's, but you have to heal your trauma within the body so that you're ready for that upgrade, because the upgrade will heal you.
Yeah, that you're emotionally and spiritually ready for this next step. Yeah, I get it. But I say it is just the utmost pleasure to me.
It is.
Like, totally. I just feel like I've known you forever.
I know, it's been fabulous. When shall we three meet again?
Oh, I really would. I want to schedule this when the new deck comes out and all that. I would love to have you back on to do this. So as soon as dates or whatever that's coming out, we will schedule you back on. If you ever want to come on for a reading show, but again, you'll be up till 4 a.m.
4 a.m. again.
Oh, let me know.
She's like, no, I don't think so. I'm gonna go to sleep now. Pre-program it. Let's just okay, we'll do it we could always do one of those moments where we have like a Saturday or a Sunday. Because how many hours apart are we? You said it's 4 a.m.
8.
11, 12,
8 hours difference?
6.
6.
No,
because we'll be 10 and she's 4.
I know you witches have been fabulous to speak to.
It's been fun. It's been a blast. I thank you very much for agreeing to be on the show with us and for sharing your cards with us and your knowledge with us. And it's like awesome. I want to. Okay, it was fucking awesome. Thank you very much. There you go.
I get money in my swear jar. Oh my god, I can brush out some cobwebs.
Do you want some Canadian coin?
Coming off my ears there.
Put it in Canadian coin. She'll be poor forever.
Oh my god. Well, listen, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed our guest. I hope you got the deck. All right, it is Elemental Goddess Oracle. Okay. Yeah. And I'm telling you, just you're gonna love it. I mean, if you do cards like we do cards, just want these cards for yourself. You want to heal yourself, your family, your friends. This is it. So, but I'm going to say buonanotte for now, and we will see you next week Do I know who we're having? No. I don't.
It doesn't matter. We're here in a moment.
All right. But
Bronwyn, thank you very much, darling.
Wait just like a couple minutes, and I'm going to play our little exit video and say good night to everybody. Please share the show. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D. We are here every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you a variety of guests or our own intuitive oracle card reading shows. We are streaming live on Facebook on my personal page and our YouTube channel, The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, on Mama D's YouTube channel, Angel Meadows, as well as our audio-only venues. We hope you enjoyed our show and our guest or your reading, and we would love it if you would go to our YouTube channel, The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, subscribe, share, and definitely hit that notification button to never miss a show. We'll see you all next week, and subscribers, watch for our pop-up shows as well.